This tutorial is on density problems. The two problems that I have here are word problems. First one says, what is the volume of a 2500.0 gram sample of silver? The density of silver is 10.5 grams per milliliter. First of all, you do not need to get caught up in the wording of a problem in chemistry. First thing we should do is write down the variables that we will be dealing with. So density equals mass over volume, so we need to figure out density, mass, and volume. One of these values will be unknown. So the first number I see is 2500.0 grams. Grams is the way we measure mass. So anytime you see grams, you know that that is the mass. Okay, just like when we say pounds, we know we're talking about weight. When we see feet, we know we're talking about height. So mass is measured in grams in chemistry. Then it says the density of silver is 10.5 grams per milliliter. It very clearly states that the density is 10.5. But I also know that density is mass per unit volume. There's going to be a mass unit divided by a volume unit because density equals mass over volume. Okay, mass per unit volume. The question says, what is the volume? So that is our unknown. So you are going to plug these values into the equation. So we know that D equals 10.5 grams per milliliter. And that is equal to the mass, 2500.0 grams, divided by the volume. Now, if you choose to not include the units in your algebra, that is okay, but you need to know how to figure out what units you will be left with if you're not going to solve algebraically. So if we know that density is mass per unit volume, that means the unit on the top is mass, the unit on the bottom is volume. So I know that my answer will be in milliliters. Milliliters is a measure of volume. All right, so if we have a fraction on one side and we don't on the other, I want you to make a fraction on the opposite side. Okay, so 10.5 over 1. Now, in order to solve for v, the easiest way is to cross multiply. So 10.5 v, 10.5 grams v, sorry that's written a little small, times 1 milliliter times 2500 grams. Okay, I have grams on this side of the equation and I have grams on this side of the equation. That means I can cancel them out. So now we need to get volume by itself. I highly recommend that when you cross multiply that you write down this step. It's very easy to accidentally divide it backwards. So I can see here that if I want volume by itself, I need to bring 10.5 to the other side. So 1 times 2500 divided by 10.5. And you will get, write it up here, 238.095. Let's stop there. Okay, the unit that we're left with is milliliters. Okay. Just a note, if you got the answer 0.0042, you divided it backwards. It has to be 2500 divided by 10.5, not the other way around. Okay, now we need to take a look at significant figures. We go back to the given information to determine how many sig figs to use. So in this piece of given information, the density has 3 significant figures. Okay, in the next one, because we have this decimal here, we know the accuracy to the tenths place. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sig figs. So 3 sig figs, and this one has 5. Okay, we use the number with the least amount of sig figs. So the least amount of sig figs given to us was 3, so our answer should have 3. All right, let's go back over here. So if we're looking for 3 significant figures, we are looking at the 4th number. Okay, if you're looking for 3 significant figures, you look at the next number and the next number only. So 0 does not round this up, it instead rounds it down. So your answer is 238. Okay, so I rounded 238.095 down to 238 milliliters. You could also write the number in scientific notation. 2.38 times 10 to the 2 milliliters. Okay, and I will solve the next problem in part 2 of this video.